Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes, and welcome to another review video. So, were my predictions right? Was I correct when I was saying that Punchline was just a trap character, by which I meant that she's going to be yet another Harley Quinn character, and by this I mean yet another modern interpretation of Harley Quinn character, not the proper one, not the one from the 1990s that was born in the heads of Paul Dini and Bruce Timm in the Batman animated series. And by which I mean this like a millionth independent, strong female character who can kick ass of each and every single man in the world and is actually the mastermind behind the man character, in this case, the Joker. These were more or less my predictions when I read about this particular character for the first time, and I have to say that to a huge extent, yes, I was right. So this is a review of Punchline, issue 1, written by James Tynion IV. And as far as my own opinion about the book, it goes like 3-to-all ratio. I like 3 aspects of that comic book and I hate all the rest. Now, just do bear in mind that this is my own personal opinion, and that your opinion might differ and most certainly will differ in most cases. Now, personally, on a personal level, I find this book extremely boring. I yawned all throughout reading the book, and it was a chore for me to finish it. I had to read, I had to go through 3 sittings to actually finish the book because it was so boring. People were just talking and talking and talking nonsense and bullcrap and things that I had expected before I read the book. What I liked, though, was the character of Punchline herself. She, as a concept, as an idea, is a very good idea. And she is what Harley Quinn, she is what they should have done in the first place when they transformed Harley Quinn into the modern version of her, when Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti came and changed this fan favorite female character of Harley Quinn, as created by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, into this independent, kick-assy female protagonist who is really not a villain anymore. She is more of an anti-hero, and even more so in some of the comic books that I read, she was more of a hero than what she originally was. And as I said many times before, Harley Quinn being so dependent on the Joker and being addicted to Joker and being his slave ultimately is such a fundamental part of the character that if you take away this part of Harley Quinn from her, the character just doesn't need to exist, because it's something completely different from what she originally was. So it's a new character, really, not the original one. So I think that this is what they should have done in the first place. Invent a new character that would have the character values and the tropes that Punchline has. So if they did so before, yeah, I would be quite satisfied and quite content. But this way, it's just yet another Harley Quinn. It's just Harley Quinn 2.0. I also liked the incorporation of the modern world and what the comic book industry itself has been dealing with for a long time, and that is the social media and the impact of social media on people and on characters. That is a huge part of the comic book. So just to give you a brief info about the story, but first I have to admit that I haven't read the latest 3 issues of the Batman run, and that is not that common as far as myself go, because I always read Batman, even if it's shit. I read all Batman by Tom King, even if I suffered throughout each and every issue. But I've just been burned out by the contemporary approach to Batman and the cuckoldry, just making Batman into a cucked character who can't stand by by himself, and all the time has to be bossed around by a female character, and is so much dependent on, say, Catwoman and things like that. I know there was the Joker War storyline, and I read the first two, I think, issues, and I found it, the concept of the Joker knowing who Batman is has been overused as much as the character of Joker himself. So the gist of me not reading the latest 3 issues of Batman is that I've just been burned out by the Joker. So I need to read it, but the gist is that there was the Joker War, and in Gotham, and Joker stole all Batman's money, and he became like the master of Gotham. And then there was a huge battle in the end, which Batman obviously won because it's comic books. And during that time, Joker acquired a new girlfriend, or a new sidekick, female sidekick, whom he also presumably boned sometimes. And that character was Punchline. As I said, Harley Quinn 2.0, a punkish, gothic-ish looking girl who was a bit more extreme than Harley Quinn. She was even a bit more, psycho looking and psycho acting. And obviously, a very clever genius. She knew the science because she improved, or she made her own version of the Joker gas or the Joker poison, which means that she has to know a shitloads of things about chemistry. So that was the character of Punchline, and she is very attractive, a very attractive woman, and that I like. So my prediction was that in the end we will get to know that, yeah, she is that kick-ass female character, the independent kick-ass character that will, kick asses of all the men in the comic books, and that really happened. We get to know that they first met when she was basically a hostage of the Joker, and she was supposed to provide the citizens of Gotham a message from the Joker via, television, as he does very often. And she, of course, became fascinated by the Joker, obsessed by the Joker, and she wants to find out as much as possible about the character. So she browses through the internet. She tries to break into Arkham Asylum so she can find tapes and interviews from the interrogation rooms with the Joker, and she sets up a podcast site where she shares her own experiences with the journey to find out who the Joker really is, not his identity, but what's behind this criminal mastermind. And at the same time, so we are skipping from the past to the present after the Joker War, where she is basically manipulating the masses. So she's quite obviously guilty. She's quite obviously a villain, but she's playing, actually really playing a victim, so that everybody sympathizes with her or empathizes with her, and so that she wins Gotham over to her side, and ultimately, really, in this way, maybe even defeat the Joker in her influence over Gotham. So by this podcast, or thanks to this podcast that she does, almost all the citizens in Gotham City are actually rooting for her. So then there should be this trial, which should decide whether she will be sent into Arkham Asylum or not, whether there will be a trial, as if she was a criminal, but in that case she would probably be executed. So that's quite interesting, this aspect. As I said, I like the character. I like the concept of the character. I like the usage of the modern, social media thing. The art was also alright. Also okay. It wasn't anything fantastic, but it was alright. What I didn't like was all the rest, which was a cavalcade of leftist, cuck-oriented bullcrap all over and over again. Like I got to know that there was a new character called Bluebird, who was apparently something like the new Robin. Well, she was obviously a woman with like pink or purple hair. She had a brother who is gay. So you've got the compulsory gay character in the comic book. And obviously, every single male character in this particular comic book has to be demasculinized and has to be a cuck or a gay, as the brother of the Bluebird character. The other important character in this particular comic book is Leslie Tompkins, who is somehow working with the Bluebird, and she is trying to persuade Punchline that Joker isn't really that fantastic because she sees through her facade. She doesn't really buy her lies as all the rest of the Gotham does. So the conclusion of this all is, and of course you've got a scene where she meets the Joker for the second time after she poisons a lot of people with her own version of the Joker gas. And once it doesn't work quite right, quite as she imagines it to work, and one guy doesn't burst into a fit of laughter after being exposed to the Joker gas, and she says, "You are supposed to be laughing," and she draws out a knife and wants to stab the man to the death. And Joker appears from behind her and holds her hand and holds her hip. Sorry, well, And he says, "You haven't got the formula quite right. Maybe I can help you." And of course, she like slaps him or punches him and turns around and like puts the tip of the knife on his, to his neck, to his throat, and says, maybe we can help each other. And then they kiss very passionately. So there is the implication of the fact that no, Joker is not the alpha character in this relationship. It's Punchline. But I know, this comic book is called Punchline, so it should be about Punchline. So the conclusion is, the comic book itself was extremely boring for me. But I like the character of Punchline because she is what the modern interpretation Harley Quinn was at the beginning and shouldn't have been, if you get my meaning. So what do you think, my friends? Have you enjoyed Punchline issue 1 or not? Do you share my opinions, or do your opinions differ in any way? Let me know in the comments down below. And subscribe to this unimportant channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that button so you can get notifications about my awesome videos, and dislike this video if you don't like it, or like this video if you like it. It helps the algorithm each way. You can follow me on various social media such as Instagram or Twitter. Very modern, isn't it? Ooh. Right, so yeah, that will be all. See you soon. Bye.